necessary to pile up a drift of books and papers to make room for the tray. My window looked east, and sunset still flamed on the western faces of the virgin snows, while above, in spite of the dejected barometer, the sky was bare of clouds, and a thin slip of pale crescent moon was swung high among the stars that still burned dimly in these first moments of their kindling. Tea came up for me without delay, and as I ate, I regarded my surroundings with extreme complacency. Then, quite suddenly, and without cause, I saw that the disposition of the beds would never do. I could not possibly sleep in the bed that my servant had chosen for me, and without pause I jumped up, transferred my dress clothes to the other bed, and put my night things where they had been. It was done breathlessly almost, and not till then did I ask myself why I had done it. I found I had not the slightest idea. I had merely felt that I could not sleep in the other bed. But having made the change, I felt perfectly content. My letters took me an hour or so to finish, and I had yawned and blinked considerably over the last one or two, in part from their inherent dullness, in part from quite natural sleepiness, for I had been in the train for 24 hours, and was fresh to these bracing airs which so conduced to appetite, activity, and sleep. And as there was still an hour before I needed to dress, I lay down on my sofa with a book for excuse, with the intention to slumber as reason. And consciousness ceased as if a tap had been turned off. Then I dreamed. I dreamed that my servant came very quietly into the room, to tell me, no doubt, that it was time to dress. I suppose there were a few minutes to spare yet, and that he saw I was dozing, for instead of rousing me, he moved quietly about the room, setting things in order. The light appeared to me to be very dim, for I could not see him with any distinctness. Indeed, I only knew it was he because it could not be anybody else. Then he paused by my washing stand, which had a shelf for brushes and razors above it, and I saw him take a razor from its case and begin stropping it. The light was strongly reflected on the blade of the razor. He tried the edge once or twice on his thumbnail, and then, to my horror, I saw him trying it on his throat. Instantaneously, one of those deafening dream crashes awoke me, and I saw the door half open, and my servant was in the very act of coming in. No doubt the opening of the door had constituted the crash. I had joined a previously arrived party of 5, all of us old friends, and accustomed to see each other often. And at dinner, and afterwards in intervals of bridge, the conversation roamed agreeably over a variety of topics, rocking turns, and the prospects of weather, a thing of vast importance in Switzerland and not a commonplace subject, and the performances at the opera, and under what circumstances, as revealed in Dummy's Hand, is it justifiable for a player to refuse to return his partner's original lead in No Trumps? Then, over whisky and soda, and the repeated last cigarette, it veered back via the Zanzigs to thought transference and the transference of emotion. Here, one of the party, Harry Lambert, put forward the much-discussed explanation of haunted houses based on this principle. He put it very concisely. Everything that happens, he said, whether it is a step we take, or a thought that crosses our mind, makes some change in its immediate material world. Now the most violent and concentrated emotion we can imagine is the emotion that leads a man to take so extreme a step as killing himself or somebody else. I can easily imagine such a deed so eating into the material scene, the room or the haunted heath where it happens, that its mark lasts an enormous time. The air rings with the cry of the slain, and still drips with his blood. It is not everybody who will perceive it, but sensitives will. By the way, I am sure that man who waits on us at dinner is a sensitive. It was already late, and I rose. Let us hurry him to the scene of a crime, I said. For myself, I shall hurry to the scene of sleep. Outside, the threatening promise of the barometer was already finding fulfillment, and a cold, ugly wind was complaining among the pines and hooting round the peaks, and snow had begun to fall. The night was thickly overcast.